Okay. First off, there's a lot of people that were involved in this. A lot of the agencies around the state were involved in this. A lot of the officers involved in our department were involved in this. I want to thank them, first of all. They put in a lot of hard work, a lot of hours behind this investigation. There's still ongoing investigations. There's still going to be stuff that's going to be coming out on this at a later time. But the officers that have put in a lot of hours and a lot of time into figuring out who these guys were, the investigation itself, and the arrest warrants and making the arrests. As far as any kinds of questions, we'll try and answer questions as we can. Preferably, if you have any questions that require us to do any kind of research or any kind of background, we'd just like for you guys to email me, and we'll get the questions answered that way. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Fred Duran. I'm taking Tanner's spot. I will be the PIO for the department now, but the rest of my team will remain the same. So just so you guys put a face to a name, this is who I am now. So we're going to start off here, Violent Repeat Offenders Group. This is a group of individuals that we've been tracking for some time. They have started to do more and more violent tendencies throughout the time that they've been considered a group. The introduction to this is going to be the presentation is designed to educate both you guys as the media and also as the public that this criminal group is out and about and they're causing havoc within the city and they're vandalizing and they're victimizing Albuquerque citizens on a regular basis. So we want this to become something as a learning tool for the media, or I'm sorry, for the public, so that they're aware of this type of stuff that's going on. Obviously, we don't want to put the media or the public into a scare, but they need to know about this type of stuff. These individuals are juveniles, and they are armed and dangerous, so we just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. Next thing we're going to go over is who they are. This group started as a taggers group, mainly in the southwest area of town. They started tagging, vandalizing property, causing lots of damage, causing lots of money to be spent, both with the city of the tagging being cleaned up, and also the owners of the property that they're vandalizing. Caused hundreds of thousands of dollars in vandalism and property damage, and a lot of them we're starting to see a misdemeanor arrest for domestic violence and battery charges at this point in time. And now their crimes have risen to felony charges, some of them even to homicide charges. So they went from being a simple taggers group that we were able to handle and take care of on a regular basis to now being felony charges, and it's becoming harder and harder for us to locate them, or harder and harder for us to even prosecute them in some cases. So recent crimes associated with this group include car theft, robberies, burglaries, shootings, and other violent crimes. And this is all stemming from the taggers that we were talking about. Many of the members are found showing off on social media. Again, they're going to use any kind of recognition in the media that they can use in order to try and recruit. So we want to try and prevent that as much as possible, but we need the public to be aware of what's going on with this group of people. They do use as bragging rights about the violent behavior, and they're not shy to show themselves armed with weapons, knives, guns, anything on the internet to show people who they are. They're organized. They're a criminal group that has sent the message that they have no regard for life, safety of anyone, or respect for authority. And that is very obvious with the recent contacts we've had with them. They obviously don't care about the safety of the individuals on the roadway when they're running from police, and that was apparent the night that our officer got T-boned from a stolen vehicle that was from a robbery with these same individuals. So they're not concerned about anybody's safety except for theirs, and sometimes not even their own safety. They continue to be arrested by the Albuquerque Police Department and surrounding agencies. This has become a multi-agency investigation just because they've been doing so much in such a broad area. Rio Rancho, Bernalillo County, us, and state police have all been involved in investigation with this. So it has been a wide area, and that has also caused a lot of work because there's so much sharing of information we have to do, so many investigations that we have to do, and then many times they're reoffending before they even are able to face the charges that they previously did. So this is something that we really need to look at and pay attention to what they're doing, so that we can get arrest warrants written and do what we need to do as far as the charges go. Following the arrest, the juveniles are almost immediately released on their own reconnaissance to their parents, and that's if they're juvenile. Sometimes they get held, sometimes they don't. It really just depends on the judge that's seen the case. If they're seen incompetent, then they will be released and misdemeanor charges will be dismissed, and felony charges may or may not go further, but that's going to be up to the judge in the Juvenile Detention Center and the DA's office at that location. So if they're being released, they're almost immediately reoffending the same day or same night, and we're starting to see this quite often. If they're adult offenders, we've seen it over and over again. They get ROR'd and they're released the same day, if not the same week, and they're reoffending the same way that the juveniles are. They're doing repeat crimes, they're doing repeat stuff that they were doing previously, And I've had officers that work the field have had contact with these individuals that they brag about it. They know they're going to be released. They know they're going to be out in the streets again doing the same thing. And they don't have any regard that they're going to be arrested. It's just another day to them. They'll be out in the morning and be doing it all over again. So they actually blatantly tell our officers this on a regular basis. And they know the system. They know if they're found incompetent, they're not going to be held for those misdemeanor crimes either. So they're aware of this. Members of this group were responsible for recently fleeing from DCSO, which was the robbery I was talking about that hit our Albuquerque police officer in his vehicle while he was on his way going home from his shift. That officer had injuries that were sustained from that crash. A couple of the people inside the vehicle had injuries. They were treated for the injuries, and then they were taken to the respective area, whether a juvenile or an adult, to the facility that they needed to go to. APS tells us that some of the suspects involved, the juveniles, either they've never been enrolled in school or they haven't been in school in months or even years. So these kids are not concerned about their education. Obviously, their parents are not concerned for their education. So we need to understand that they're not in the system that we can just go track them down to school, that we can just go talk to them. They're hard to find because they're not enrolled in any type of school system where we can find them or talk to them. And it's even a bigger problem when they're not being educated, because they go on year by year, they're getting older and older, and they have nothing to fall back on if they decide to try and change their ways and try and have a normal life like everybody else and try to go to school, because now they've lost all this time that they could have been going to school for a diploma, GED, or whatever the case may be that they're trying to get. As far as Albuquerque Police Department, we want to educate the group in order to prevent residents from being victimized, injured, or killed as a result of this. The group's violent behavior and disregard for safety and the rights of other people. We don't want to increase the risks of others involved in this by us doing our job. We want to keep the public safe. That's our primary focus, is to keep the public safe. But what we want the public to also understand is that the guys that we might be following or might be trying to apprehend may not have the same regard. We know that they don't, and it's been very obvious in recent events. This is going to be a listing of the case numbers from 2011 to 2016 of these juveniles have been involved in. There's more. However, the cases that are on this have been closed, and they have gone to DA's office, they have gone to Metro Court, they have gone to District Court or the Juvenile Detention Center. So these are cases that we have made arrests on, and they have considered these cases as closed. But there are many more investigations, and at some points, officers are having a hard time keeping up because there's so many of them coming out. When they get out of custody and they're reoffending the same day, that's another case number that we have to open and another investigation that we have to start. So this kind of stuff starts stacking up and starts weighing on the officers that are trying to do their job on the street, but also the detectives that are trying to investigate these cases as well. So individuals of interest. This is going to be the individuals that we have arrested, we have charges on, and the case numbers that they're associated with. The first one we're going to go through is Raimundo Lucero, 895. His arrests have been domestic violence, battery and household member, child abuse. That was in 2014, 2015 domestic violence, battery, and reckless driving 2016. So he does have a record. He has been somebody that we have released. I do not know his current status at this point in time. Second person is somebody I'm sure we're all familiar with, is Xavier Montoya. This is a name that I've been asked about a lot. This is a name that's been in the media a lot. This is his arrest history. He is also an adult. He has been booked and released from NBC from his last charge as well. He doesn't have any active warrants right now, but doesn't mean that there may not be any in the future. Next will be another name that you're all familiar with, is Daniel Sandoval. He has had charges of listed burglary tools, attempt to commit a fourth-degree felony, conspiracy of third and fourth-degree felony, felony juvenile warrants. So his record started as a juvenile. He's just continued to be more violent since. Again, this is a name that you're all familiar with, that I've had questions about, that you guys have inquired to me about. And this is somebody that we have been looking at closely as well. This next individual, his name is Jamil Lewis. He has quite the record. We actually have 2 pages of a record for him. He also has cases starting from 2013 all the way up to 2016, and they range from graffiti all the way up to possession of a stolen vehicle, drug paraphernalia, eluding police. So his record is quite vast as well. These are pictures that we had pulled off his Facebook page. So these are the pictures that they're blatantly putting out on social media for people to see. And here's a little bit more of his history that just continues to go on. Stevan Green, all his charges so far have stemmed just from 2016, but he has had felony warrants issued to him repeatedly. Isaiah Garcia, same thing, 2016 charges, felony warrants, also unlawful takeover of a motor vehicle. We're seeing a lot of these kids being involved in stolen cars, and even that one that we had with that involved also was an actual robbery that was also considered an armed robbery carjacking. So they are taking vehicles from people, whether they're in the cars or not in the cars, which is putting the public in jeopardy. Next subject is going to be Scott Gibbs. He's a juvenile as well. 2016 charges for felony warrants. He has been arrested. His status at this point is unknown as well. And then another guy, I'm sure that you've all been familiar with the name of Sebastian Garcia. This subject is somebody that we've had quite an extensive part of investigation with him. He is involved in a lot of investigations that we are currently investigating and ones that we have closed. He currently has a felony warrant that we're looking for him for. Every time that we try and track him down, he's able to get away. We want this guy in custody because we believe that he has a lot of information that we need. He's going to have a lot of ties to a lot of the crimes that we're trying to solve, and detectives really need to talk to him. Again, these are pictures from his Facebook page that you're going to see him holding weapons. Majority of the time that these weapons are found with these subjects, these are stolen weapons, and we're taking stolen weapons from these guys all the time. So they are considered armed and dangerous, and that's another thing we want to push out to the public is if they encounter these juveniles, they carry guns. They're not afraid to use them, and they will use them. We've seen them use them in the past. Next subject is going to be Jeremy Garcia. His crimes started as shoplifting and eventually went up to felony warrants, so were tied into cases that were investigated. Next is going to be Jose Romero. Started with domestic violence battery on a household member. He's had a couple of charges with that and criminal damage under $1,000. And the subjects that we're showing you today, they may be involved in other cases that we're investigating. We just haven't closed those cases yet, so you may see these names again here in the future. And the last subject we're going to talk about is going to be Adrian Nieto. He's had cases stemming from 2014 to current. He is our youngest, born in 2001. So his crime spree started in 2014, so he's quite young. He's one of the youngest guys that's involved in the group that we know of at this point in time. But we don't know the ages of all the individuals used, and we're still trying to, or involved, and we're still trying to identify everybody that's involved as well. So a little bit of history on the juveniles. Jose Romero, he's been referred to the Juvenile Detention Center 15 times. His first referral was in 2012. He's been on detention 4 times, 3 times probation, and he's been found incompetent 3 times, which means those charges of their misdemeanor were dismissed. He has 1 new petition sent to the DA's office for a 2016 case for domestic violence. Scott Gibbs, he's had 7 referrals to the Juvenile Detention Center. First referral was in 2013. He's been on probation 2 times and been in detention 2 times as well. Sebastian Garcia, 7 referrals to JDC. He's been his first referral is 2015. He's been in detention 2 times, probation 3 times, and he's currently wanted on a felony warrant. He was the subject that we just showed a clip to that we are looking for, and we do want this guy in custody. Jeremy Garcia Naya, he's had 12 referrals to Juvenile Detention Center. First referral was in 2013, 5 times detention, 4 times probation, and those 4 times he was found incompetent and released. And he's currently held on bond as a useful offender. Adrian Nieto, 18 times to the Juvenile Detention Center, first in 2012. He's been in detention 6 times. He's never been placed on probation due he's been found incompetent on all his charges. And he's currently pending 3 petitions as a youthful offender. And he's currently being held on bond, has a hearing on November 8th. And as we pointed out last time, we enjoy that you guys are at the JDC whenever these guys are being arraigned because it helps us get their names out. It helps us get their faces out to the public so that if people encounter these guys, they know who they are and they're educated not to approach these people so that they don't get hurt. We don't want to see any more citizens get hurt with these offenders. Stevan Green, he's had 6 referrals to JDC. First referral in 2013, 4 times detention, 3 times probation, and he's currently living out of state with grandparents. So we haven't had any further referrals with him. And the last subject is going to be Isaiah Garcia. He's had referrals 11 times. He's been his first referral in 2015, 2 times probation, released on 8/9/2016 due to competency, and he has 2 petitions and he's in detention currently. And we're going to go back to our wanted subject. This is Sebastian Garcia, 12 to 99. He's considered armed and dangerous. As you can see, he does take pictures and post them on social media with firearms. And we have seen that these guys will not hesitate to use them. So we want to make sure that the public is aware that they are armed and dangerous, and not to approach them. If they do, to call police right away. We are trained to handle situations like this, and we will handle the situation accordingly as we see fit at the time. So Detective Kevin Sanchez, he's going to be the detective that's been taking tips or information on this group or the related cases. So anything that you guys might get from the public, we ask that you direct them to this phone number, to this detective. He's the one that's been taking all the tips and information. Anything that's collected through him, we will be thoroughly investigating as a tip, and anything that we can get is very appreciated. In conclusion, this information is provided to you today and hope that we will be able to distribute this responsibly to the public. We want them to be aware. We want them to make sure that they're going to be safe. And we want the Albuquerque citizens to be aware of the dangers of this group involved. They are armed and dangerous. We don't want the public approaching them. We've done a story with some of the stations earlier this week that we don't want the public chasing offenders, chasing their stolen cars, and this falls suit to that. We want to keep everybody safe. That's what the police are here for. We will take care of it. We just need people to be good witnesses. We want good tips. We want good information relayed to us so that we can do our job and we can get everything taken care of safely and make sure that everybody involved in the situation is safe as well. So this concludes our presentation. At this point in time, I want to thank again everybody that's involved in this. I know that everybody that's the officers have put a lot of work into this, detectives, supervisors, everybody that's been involved in this has put in a lot of hours and a lot of time. This cannot be something that we could have put together today without their help.